Someone to put questions in the chat. Hi, we will go ahead and get started. It's 2 o'clock and we want to respect your time and the time of our presenters. My name is Beth Hunsaker. I am the Assistant Director of the Financial Wellness Center here on campus. We are a part of Student Affairs. We are here as student support. We're here to help with any financial questions and things you have with your day-to-day finances, as well as your big dreams and things you have coming forward. So we're really grateful that you're here with us today. We're very excited about this group we have presenting. We purposely made this workshop after tuition being due last week. I'm sure you were very busy last week. Tuition was due on Friday. Because moving forward, we want you to start thinking about how you're going to pay for your school going forward. So we brought this group together, people who are in the know, they know how to pay for school, they know how to reduce the cost of school, and some who have worked the system themselves and have been able to pay for their schooling. So that's why we wanted to provide this for you to start thinking about future semesters. If you do need help with the current semester, talk to us afterwards. We can make sure that everything is on track. We're here to help and support you. The Financial Wellness Center, we offer workshops like this. We offer presentations. And one of the best things I think that we do is we offer one-on-one financial counseling, where you are able to sit down and talk with another student who has been trained or an accredited financial counselor such as myself. And we're able to go over and address any financial issues you might have. It's completely confidential. I won't tell your teacher. I won't tell anyone at school. I won't tell your parents. It's just between you and I, or whoever you work with. And we can help you set goals. We can help you with those concerns you have. So the website is here on this QR code. We are located in the Union building in room 317 for walk-ins. But you can set appointments right on the website. You can pull up our calendars, get it set up. We do in person, and we also do virtual appointments as well. So make sure you take a look at that. It's completely free, covered by your student fees. So there's never a cost to you to come and talk to us and see us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started by introducing our panel. They're going to each present on their bit of the topic. And then at the end, we're going to leave about 15 or 20 minutes for questions that you might have. So if someone's presenting and you have a question, please just take a note of it and ask it at the end when we have time for that. If you are on the Zoom, you can write questions into the chat and then we will ask those at the end. So we're going to start with Chelsea Springer. Chelsea works in the financial aid office here at University of Utah. And believe it or not, she's been working in financial aid for over 18 years, 10 of them being here at the U. Seeing the success of students and the opportunities we get to share with students in order to have a successful educational experience, keeps her motivated to stay in the crazy world of financial aid. And I'm sure she has some pretty interesting short stories to share. She loves to talk with students and to be a part of this great Utah community. After Chelsea, we're going to have Sarah Elizabeth Garza-Levitt. Sarah Elizabeth is a first-generation college student who earned an Associate of Science at Salt Lake Community College, a bachelor and a master of social work here at University of Utah. Since joining the U as a staff person in 2016, Sarah Elizabeth has been an active member of the campus community, advocating for the importance of basic needs security as a key to success. Informed by her experience as a single working parent, taking many years to attain higher education, she believes basic needs such as the economic, food, and housing experiences, make sure that stays away, housing experiences among students, staff, and faculty directly impact their health and well-being. In 2020, Sarah Elizabeth led efforts to found the Help Campus Feed You Pantry satellite in the EHSEB and partnered with University Hospital Nutrition Care Services on a food recovery project. Over 25,000 pounds of food have been recovered and distributed through the pantry. Additionally, Sarah Elizabeth is pursuing her PhD in social work at the University of Utah and is studying college student poverty and its impact on health, academic performance, and retention completion outcomes. Once Sarah Elizabeth has presented, we will have Vidi. Vidi Najera, did I say your last name right? Vidi Najera serves as a project manager for the Connect to Collect program in the College of Social and Behavioral Science. She graduated with her master's in education in 2020 from the University of Utah and is now currently enrolled as a student pursuing a certificate in financial planning. After Vidi, I have a short video from one of our presenters who is unable to attend, and then we will have the panel. So Chelsea, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for having me here. What I want to talk about today is just general information about financial aid. What is financial aid? How do you apply for financial aid? And then maybe also some tips on additional funding that you might be able to apply for or access to that you might not know that's available to us. So when we started. So the first thing is just how do you apply for financial aid? Who here has done a FAFSA before? So most of you. One of the biggest things to understand or remember is that you have to do one every year. Unfortunately, it's not a one and done type of thing. It's something that you do need to apply for each year. And so what I always tell students is just make sure you have it done probably closer to October as much as possible, just because that way if we need any paperwork from you, that kind of thing, all of that's done well before the tuition deadline, like Friday. So it is available every year starting October 1st. So this coming October for the upcoming year, you're going to fill out your 2023-24 FAFSA, and you're going to use your 2021 tax information. So it's always a year prior. Just a little tip, they actually changed that so that students could apply earlier, because in the past they were using just the previous year income, and a lot of people had not filed taxes yet. So that's why they use a 2-year difference. We'll talk a little bit later about what that means for you though, financial need and that kind of thing, and things that we can look at, since 2 years ago income might look a lot different than what it does now. So it's important to remember that you can always come talk to us about that. I don't know if any of you have used the student aid app, but they are actually removing that. They didn't find that it was a very successful, it had a lot of glitches in it. So the best option is just to go on to the website, fill out your FAFSA there. If you are having problems with it, or if you want just assistance, we're available. We can sit down either in person or virtually to actually help you fill out your FAFSA. So it's just important to know if you need any information from us, or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Here we talk about the data retrieval tool. Has anybody used the data retrieval tool? It's kind of a pain, I know, to link up. One of the biggest things that I say that will help that is if you have your tax document in front of you, because it requires your address to be exactly as you put it on your taxes. So if you just have that in front of you, knowing like if I put apartment B, it has to be apartment B, not apartment B, da, da, da. So that's a key to link it up. And we'll talk a little bit why that's important. If you get selected for a thing called verification, it makes it a lot easier for you. Okay, so once you've completed your FAFSA, what are the next steps? The next steps is to make sure you check your CIS page. If we need anything from you, we are going to contact you through your email. And we will also indicate little flags on your CIS that we need something from you. So it's important to kind of monitor that, monitor your email from us, make sure that you know if we need anything, because the faster we get that paperwork done, the faster we can actually award you financial aid. And then you will receive a notification from us about your offer letter. And that will, again, through your email account, it'll let you know, hey, you have an offer out there, go check your CIS account for that offer letter. And you'll actually accept or decline your awards through that account. Has anybody had any issues with that before in the past? No? One of the things that I've found is that the timing of it. So if you receive the email from us and say you have an offer letter and you go and check right that second, sometimes it takes a little bit for it to sync up with your CIS. So you'll go to your CIS and it says nothing's available for you yet. Just give it a little bit of time. And if it doesn't show up within 24 hours, call us. Something probably is wrong on that. And then if you do accept loans, there are a couple additional steps that you'll have to take on those loans prior to them dispersing. One is completing entrance counseling. I always tell students you have to pay attention. There's a little quiz at the end. But it's important because it's key to understanding what a loan is. A lot of times this is the first loan that you've ever taken out. And it'll talk about the different payment plans, how interest accrues on those loans, and different things that you can do when you're in repayment, such as go into deferment or forbearance, that kind of thing, which is one of the most important parts of a federal loan, is that those things are available to you unlike other loans. So it's important to complete the entrance counseling. You won't get your loan until it's done, and to pay attention. It's about 20 minutes when you're doing it. And then the promissory note is just you signing on the loan, promising to pay it back. Okay, we talked a little bit about the data retrieval, and I said something about verification. Anybody here ever been selected for verification? Is it a pain? Yes. It is. It's a pain. Luckily this year, they waived verification for most students. So that's been awesome, because not only for you guys, for us, right? But if you are selected, if you're lucky enough to be selected for verification, you have to basically submit documents to our office verifying the information you put on your FAFSA is correct. And so if you use that data retrieval tool, then you don't have to provide your tax information to us. If you don't, then you have to request what's called a tax transcript from the IRS office. And sometimes that can take 6 to 8 weeks right now. So it's just really important to try to use that data retrieval tool just to help you out if you do get selected. My guess is they will not waive verification next year. So just as you're filling out this upcoming FAFSA, make sure you use that data retrieval tool if you can. But the verification process, it can range from, we need to verify who's in your household, the income, maybe on your FAFSA you put, I'm filed single head of household, but you also listed married, right? That might flag you for a verification to kind of check to see, okay, that typically isn't the case. So we need to just make sure that that's correct. So if we do need verification documents, your funding will actually not disperse until we have that completed. So again, it's important to kind of make sure you have checking your CIS. We will let you know through CIS and through your email if we do need any kind of verification forms. And so it's just always key to kind of keep on top of that. That way you're not at our office on tuition deadline going, oh, I didn't have anything dispersed to me. Why? You know, anything that you can do ahead of time is best. Okay, what types of financial aid? A lot of people, when you say financial aid, they think loans, right? Like, I don't want loans or a Pell Grant. Well, there's actually lots of different types of financial aid. I always encourage students to apply for FAFSA no matter what, even if you feel like you're not going to qualify, because even though you might not qualify for like a federal Pell Grant, there are other grant opportunities or the other scholarships that look at that. So there might be additional funding outside of loans that you'd be eligible for if you apply. So it doesn't hurt to apply. You don't have to accept the funding that you're offered, but it also opens up more doors of different availability. So federal Pell Grants, that is funding that you don't have to pay back. So based on the FAFSA, when you fill it out, they determine what they call as a student aid index. And what that means is looking at your income or your parents' income, we determine that you should be able to pay this much towards your education, right? And previously it was called an EFC, so expected family contribution. And so when you put all of that in there, it gives you a student aid index number. And that number determines, okay, is the student then eligible for Pell Grants, loans, or other kind of federal grants as well. So Pell Grant, currently this year it's up to $6,895, which is a lot for the year. And that's, again, funding you don't have to pay back. But in addition to that, there's also what we call the SEOG grant, which is another $1,000 that you could receive on top of the grant as well. Again, funding you don't have to pay back, which is key. And then there are other state and institutional grants that we offer through FAFSA. Again, you don't have to even be Pell eligible to receive some of these, so it's important to fill that out, see what you're available. Work study. Anybody here on work study? Work study is amazing. Yeah, I think there's a couple things. Work study, obviously it's funding you don't have to pay back, right? More additional funding, but it offers an amazing experience interviewing. So you're going to go out and actually interview for these positions. You can work in a field that you're exploring. So like if you're thinking about being a financial aid administrator, not many people think about that, but you can come work in our office and say, okay, am I crazy enough to do that? Or, that kind of thing. So it's really an amazing opportunity that I think more students should utilize because it offers job skills. It offers you the experience that you might not get prior to finishing your program, and the flexibility with work study. So you're only allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. But like, for example, in our office, our work studies, they'll come in for an hour here and there in between classes, or if they know Wednesdays are my only day that I have like a 4-hour block, I'm gonna just come in and work for 4 hours. We're right on campus. It's something that's very flexible to them. Just keep in mind, one of the confusions with work study is you can get up to $5,000. That's not a flat amount that comes to you. It's more of a supplemental income, so you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. So it's not going to go towards your tuition. But I tell students all the time, shampoo, food, whatever you need to use it for. It's just a great additional kind of financial offer. Student loans. And then there's federal student aid loans. We always encourage students to take out federal loans prior to any kind of other loans. Does anybody know why that is? What the benefit would be between? Yeah, so it depends actually. So some of the alternative loans, what we call alternative loans, like through banks, they might have a lower interest rate than your federal loans. But the key is to actually reading the fine print, because they might offer a low interest rate while you're attending school, but once you actually graduate and go into repayment, then it might be a variable rate. And that's a lot different than a fixed rate. So like the federal loans are a fixed rate. The rates do change each year, but for that loan that you have that year, it's fixed for the lifetime of that loan. There's also a lot of benefits to when you're in repayment. So for example, like the loan forgiveness that just happened, you would never have to pay more per month than what you financially can afford. A lot of the private loans, that's not an option. So there's a safety net there in terms of, especially if you're having to take out a lot more in loans, knowing that you have some flexibility in your repayment. You have 6 months until you have to make any payments after you graduate or drop below halftime. So there's some flexibility in that too. So there are federal loan options, and then there's alternative loan options. And I guess just the biggest thing is read the fine print, know what you're signing. Even with the federal loans, watch that entrance counseling, know what you're getting into, because it's really important this is going to affect the rest of your life financially. So, but we always tell students it's best to apply and fill out for federal loans prior to alternative loans. If you do have to do an alternative loan, we can't encourage any kind of bank to you. We always just tell students I would start with who you bank with first, and then kind of branch out from there. But there's a lot of different opportunities out there for student loans. And then just when you get your financial aid offer, so like I said, you'll get it through your email account. You'll receive a notification saying, hey, you have offers out there to accept or decline. Go to your CIS page and accept or decline. Each of your offer letters will show kind of it's called an estimated cost of attendance. That doesn't mean that's what it's going to cost you. It's just a general estimation of how much it would cost for your year here at the school. So it will fluctuate depending on your living situation or your tuition or miscellaneous expenses as well. So that's just kind of our general cost of attendance that we use to determine how much it would cost for a student to attend school. And then we always try to disperse the first week of classes for financial aid. So if you haven't received your financial aid yet and you've applied, come talk to me afterwards because you should have received it already. And is anybody familiar with the payment plans through income accounting as well? Yeah, it's important to understand that there's also payment plans as well, so that you don't have to pay all of that up front. So you can have a combination. You can have a combination of financial aid and payment plans, or you can just do payment plan, that kind of thing. So it's just important to kind of know what's available out there for you.
You can just use the arrows.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. Scholarships. Who likes scholarships? Yeah. We do offer scholarships through our office. Those are offered your first year here. So once you're here and a current student, we don't have a lot of scholarships that are offered through our office specifically, unless it's a renewable scholarship through our office. So I don't know why it's not going back. Has anybody been on the Academic Works platform to apply for scholarships across campus? We are actually moving away from that next year. It'll have a different application. But for now, if you go to our website and go to scholarships, so at the top it says types of aid, you can go to scholarships and go to current students. And there's a link there for Academic Works. Yeah. You can apply for scholarships across campus, and it'll actually give you the deadlines to them. It's important to apply for as many scholarships as you possibly can. The worst thing they can say is no, right? Yeah. And actually a lot of funding there's not as many people that apply for them as you think. So like I said, I would just encourage you to apply for as many scholarships as possible. And I would check that website frequently. Most of the scholarships each year are available beginning in the spring. So if you're looking for scholarships for fall semester next fall, start looking, I would say October, November through to the end of the next year. Oh. So when you do the scholarship, the Academic Works, you're going to just fill out a general application on there. And then it's going to link you to several different scholarships that you might feel available to you. And then external scholarships, you can also apply for scholarships outside of the university. So we have on our website a link to the external scholarships that you can actually apply for, that we've found are legitimate scholarships to apply for. It's important to never share a ton of detail on an external scholarship. And typically if they're asking you for money, it's probably not a legitimate scholarship. Sorry. No, that's okay. I think kicked off the Wi-Fi. Uh-oh. Any questions? Yeah.
I think what is it?
Yeah, so if you go to the financial aid website, on the top it says types of aid, and then click scholarships. You want to click on the current student tile, and then under that there's a link to academic works, and you'll click on that, and that's where you're going to fill out some general application. It is not. So you'll want to go to the external scholarship. Outside scholarships, we just have links on our website, but those scholarship applications are external from the university. Yeah. What I'll talk about now is I think one of the most important processes in our office that a lot of people don't understand or don't know are available. And that's, we were talking a little bit about the cost of attendance, right? Like the general average cost for a student to attend here for the year. That doesn't fit everybody, right? That doesn't fit everybody's mold. When you fill out your FAFSA, that's 2 years ago information, right? That doesn't always fit your situation. And so we do have options in our office for situations like maybe a loss of job, right? So 2 years ago, mom or dad lost their job and therefore aren't making the same income that they were 2 years ago. What we can do is look at current income or look at like 22 income. Maybe mom and dad aren't in the picture at all. But yet on the FAFSA, it doesn't list that as an option, right? It doesn't say, what is your specific status with your family? It just says, are you this age or do you meet one of these qualifications? So it's really important to come talk to our office. I think, so just personally, I should have done that when I was your age, and I didn't because I didn't know what was available to me. And I just think it's important for students to know that we're here. It's not just all fit in the same box. If there are situations that have changed, even mid-year, right? Something happens in your financial situation and you're really struggling, come talk to us because we might be able to help in making adjustments to your financial aid.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Internet's not happy with us.
I think that was about it. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and we'll put up your contact information.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get your office?
Yeah, so I would say right now, like today, I would come see us.
Yes.
Yes.
Come to our window.
But in general, you can always call our office. Right now, we used to have a virtual chat. We don't have that available to us right now. We can meet with people over Zoom or Teams, or we can meet, in person. Email, you can email us right now.
Here's their
Yep.
info. Right?
Just because of tuition deadline right now, we have a lot of people calling us right now. So if it's urgent, I would come visit at their window. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sarah Elizabeth,
Yeah.
what's your slide?
Oh, can we just go to the website?
We'll try.
Well, if not, I can just talk through. I'm less prepared. I just thought I'd talk about some resources. So, I don't have a slide deck or anything, but check out basicneeds.utah.edu. So my name is Sarah Elizabeth, and I'm the Associate Director of our Basic Needs Collective, and we have a mission to provide comprehensive, coordinated resource support for students. In campus life, there is so much that is available to you as a student, kind of like with financial aid. There's so many different opportunities and availabilities for funding through that, beyond the Pell Grant, beyond some of the things that we may be more familiar with upon entering into the academy. I'm a first-generation college student, so I spent a lot of time not knowing what I didn't know and ultimately struggling for a long time financially during my academic experiences as I was pursuing like my Associate of Science degree. And it took me 23 years to earn my Associate of Science degree at Salt Lake Community College as a single working teenage parent. I had to prioritize work and then pursue my education that had a lot of ups and downs and all arounds. And I dropped out, I failed out, I lost my financial aid at one point. But I never gave up on my dream. And today I do the work that I do on campus because I want to turn around and make it easier for any student that's here. We are generalists. When you come to the Basic Needs Collective, you do not have to perform your poverty. We're not going to ask you about your income. We're not going to ask you to show us your bank account or demonstrate the need. We assume that if you're coming to our collective that you have a need and we are there to support you in whatever that is. So our Basic Needs Collective has a variety of ways of interfacing. basicneeds.utah.edu. This is our website. If you're a self-service kind of student and you just have a need and you know what domain it is in and you want to visit our website and find that resource and pursue it yourself, awesome. That's like the most low impact way that you could access our Basic Needs Collective. We have lots of resources listed under the resources tab in the domains of transportation, in the domains of financial wellness. We have our great partners here with the Financial Wellness Center and a variety of other campus and community resources, recognizing not all students are here proper. We have our online students and we have students that don't necessarily come to campus all the time and may not be able to come to campus at a time that we're there and available when they're there. And so we do have, if you want to meet with us in person, a variety of options. We're in the office. We're located in the basement next to the Feed You Pantry, which is a resource you should use. Absolutely don't think that somebody else has a more important need than you or that someone else is more deserving. Use the pantry. It's a resource that's available to you. And you can come Monday through Friday. We're there 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in person. I have 3 basic needs programming interns and myself, and you can meet with one of us to do an intake assessment and resource referral that's customized to your needs and provides warm handoffs to campus and community partners. You can visit us virtually. We have virtual office hours that we're holding over Zoom, just an accessibility thing. Sometimes people would rather meet on Zoom anyway. So we have that option. Another, if we can scroll down just a little bit, Beth. If you're looking on the website, you kind of don't find what exactly you're interested in, you can click this link and fill out this form. It's a very simple form, and you can select one of 8 resources and receive general resource support in that area, like how to access affordable health insurance or how to access food or benefits. So you can fill out that form. Those resources will be emailed directly to you. We require minimal information for that, your unit, and then it just gets emailed back to you, whatever email that you provide. So that's another kind of self-service way that you can interface with our Basic Needs Collective. I will say a lot of the resources I don't say are free. We have a lot of no-cost resources, like no direct cost to you, but a lot of the campus resources that we can provide are covered in student fees, right? So for example, accessing mental health services on campus, if you're accessing certain areas on campus for resources, some of that's covered by student fees. Some of it are like public benefits. Like if we're walking you through how to go and apply for the supplemental nutrition assistance program, like SNAP something. So a lot of no cost, low cost options available. I will also say that I won't let you leave her without a couple of resources. A couple of things I'm super excited right now. We have a partnership with the Sustainability Office, and it's the U in Motion program. So this is basically a bike equity initiative on campus. If you're in need of a bike and you have a commitment to ride your bike, you can come to our office, do our intake assessment and referral, and part of that will be our referral to the U in Motion program to be given a free bike, all of the accessories for the bike, and the only real commitment there is a commitment to ride the bike, and then also attending a safety class that they offer a couple during the semester. So if you want a free bike, come to us, come visit us virtually or in person if you have that need, and we can give you a referral to that program. Another option or resource, a lot of students, I was actually meeting with a couple of students just today informally about like program collaboration with the ASUU, the Associated Student Union here at the University of Utah, and is software.utah.edu. So if you go to I see a nod. If you go to software.utah.edu, you can gain access at low or no cost to a lot of professional versions of programs that you would have to pay for otherwise. So you can get the professional level of Zoom, meaning you don't get cut off at that 40-minute limit on the free version. You get the professional version. And so there's a lot of other programs on there like Qualtrics, or depending on your program of study, what you need. I'm a PhD student in social work. And so there's a couple of statistical programs that I was able to get at a reduced cost through that, which saved me a couple $100 per program. And I was like, that's awesome. So, because programs can be really expensive. So if those are like out-of-pocket costs, you can take that money that you're saving in that and then repurpose it to other things that you may need for housing or food or just paying regular bills. So visit our website, tons of resources on there. Fill out the form if you want to for more general resources, or come visit us and we'll have a conversation about getting resources to meet your specific needs. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Beatty? Which slide? Hold up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Vidi, and I'm the project manager for a program here at the University of Utah called Connect to Collect, and we provide free tax preparation to anybody who makes under $60,000. I want to talk a little bit about my own personal college experience and talk about some of the tips that I've learned throughout my education. So in 2017, I graduated with my undergrad in sociology and human development and family studies. It took me 5 years to graduate. The first 2 years, thankfully, I was covered by grants, so I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, which was very good because that's typically when students like drop out of school like the first 2 years. So like that really helped me stay in school. The other 3 years, I was a little bit of scholarships, a little bit of financial aid, and a lot of loans. So one of the main tips that I have is definitely making sure that you read over, as Chelsea mentioned, the terms and the agreements, because when I was a junior in college, I didn't know the difference between unsubsidized loan and the subsidized loan. So I ended up taking the unsubsidized loan, and that's the one that you start accruing interest as soon as you take it. Or yeah, right. So I kind of screwed myself over a little bit on that end just because I was too scared to ask for help. I was just like, oh, well, this one sounds good, so I'm just gonna accept the terms. So yeah, definitely read the terms and the agreements and make sure that you understand them. You have a lot of really great resources to help you here, like the financial aid office and the financial wellness center. As Chelsea mentioned, always apply for financial aid, even though you think that you're not going to qualify. There's always extra grants there. There's student loans that you could take out, and oftentimes they are better than taking out private loans. I did also want to mention that when it came to grad school, so I did graduated with my master's in education in 2020. Typically the way that grad school sometimes works is you could get assistantships. Assistantships is you work for the department. I worked for the financial wellness center at that time for 2 years, and they paid for my tuition, and I would get a stipend every 2 weeks. I would get paid. I would still have to work 20 hours a week, but it was a huge help to get my tuition covered. And I would say most departments in grad school, you could get a graduate assistantship or research assistant. So if you're planning on going to grad school, make sure that you have those connections with your professors, different people across campus, so that way, if you do need an assistantship, you could go ask. So I had applied for 5 different assistantships and I didn't end up getting any. So I went to the director of the Financial Wellness Center asking her for advice, and then she did her magic and ended up connecting me with somebody who was able to help me and get me an assistantship. So I'm super thankful that I was able to build that relationship with her, and she was able to in return help me find an assistantship. Something that's very important also, just because I am a tax expert, is if you're paying for tuition out of pocket. So if you take out student loans, that's you paying for tuition out of pocket, because eventually you'll have to pay that back. So if you do that on your own, or if your parents take out loans, at the end of the year, you should be receiving a form that's called the 1098-T form, and you'll find this under your CIS page. There's a credit called the American Opportunity Life Credit, and this one you could use it for 4 years. And this one is a refundable tax credit that could give you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. So let's say you took out a loan for about $3,000. So you'll get that 1098-T saying that the university billed you for $10,000, you paid $3,000 out of pocket. So you could potentially get anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 back from your taxes. Once again, it's if your parents claimed you, then they would get that tax form. But if you took out the loans on your end and you do your own taxes as an independent student, then you would get that money back. So you could use that for 4 years. And then there's another credit called the lifetime credit. And that one's typically If you already use the first 4 years of the American Opportunities, the other one, the lifetime, gives you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 back. 500 to $1,000 back. So it's a little bit less, but you still get money back, and that could help you pay for tuition or something of that sort. In addition to that, if you are taking out student loans, this is if it's private or public, or through financial aid. If you pay for student loans and you pay interest towards that, you also get a form called the 1098E, and that's a student loan form. And that form, it's a form that helps you lower the amount of taxes that you owe. So it's not a refundable credit, so you won't get money back for that, but it will lower the taxes that you owe, which in return will kind of increase your refund. That's pretty much all I had. I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of it is just pretty much just paying for school, loans, parents, working. I would also encourage you all, I know it's super hard to work 2 jobs or a job like while you're in school, but when I was in undergrad and throughout my graduate degree or schooling, I always had a side gig. I bartended once a week, and that was very helpful for me to be able to get my fun money, to go out to eat, to go shopping, and do those activities that you want to do while you're in school, so that way you're not all the way, you know. Yeah, I think that was, oh, actually one more thing. My department, the Family Consumer Studies department, is currently hiring a student researcher. So we do taxes right now. Right now we're trying to connect to the different school districts around Salt Lake City. So like Granite, Salt Lake, Canyons. We want to do free taxes for their families. There's a credit called the Earned Income Tax Credit that families and individuals could get. You could get anywhere from $500 to $6,000. This is one of the credits that is most underutilized in the state of Utah. So only 1 out of 4 families in the state of Utah applies for the credit, but they all qualify, most of them. So we're trying to encourage people to do taxes, one, for free, but also making sure that they're going and getting the appropriate help for this. Because a lot of people oftentimes go to like for-profit companies to do their taxes, like H&R Block, TurboTax, and if you just submit your one tax form, like that's all they're going to help you with. They're not going to ask you for additional questions to see if you qualify for other credits. So the department is currently hiring. You would be a student researcher, so you would be going out into the schools and helping and educating people about the tax credit. You could also get VITA certified, so you could do your taxes, learn how to do taxes, get credit for it, and you'll be IRS certified. So that could look really good on your resume as well. So if you're interested, I'll leave this flyer in the front. There's a QR code where you could apply. It's only 10 hours a week, so it's not too many hours. And it's to the Family Consumer Studies department. Did you have a question?
Yeah. So you mentioned the bird, right? So I think I filled that out like a couple weeks ago, and like they'll get back to you whether or not you got it, or if like you didn't get it, they just don't respond. Or
Yeah, did you? I could talk to you afterwards, and we could go over it, and whatever personal assistance you need, I could help you with that.
Yeah, I don't, but yes, if there's another time.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Alrighty, well, thank you all. I'll leave this up here.
Okay, and this presenter, she was unable to come, so she did a quick video about the tips that she used to help get scholarships.
Thanks, Grace, and I am just going to tell you a little bit about the experiences that I had paying for college. I graduated in May 2022 with a bachelor's degree in communications and anthropology, as well as a minor in Spanish. So I got pretty busy, but here's a couple of tips to sort of pay for college, because let's be real, it's expensive. So my experience paying for school was pretty solid. I was incredibly fortunate in the scholarship opportunities I had, because I actually finished my degree without any debt. So taking the time to apply for scholarships is so worth it. I read a lot of essays and generally started applying for scholarships for the next year in October or November. And depending on the deadline, the last scholarship is usually due in about early April. So there's a few months where you're, constantly writing essays, constantly revising and applying. To help me though, each year, since I was at the U for 4 years, I made a spreadsheet of all of the annual scholarships, and I put any scholarships that automatically would renew, like I had flagship scholarship from the U. I put that at the top of the list and made it out, okay, this is the base amount of money that I'm starting with for the next year because I have a scholarship, my grades still qualify for it, etc. So I knew I was going to get it. And then I took all of the annual scholarships that I could reapply for and put them under that as well. I included the name, the day that they were generally due the previous year of the month, early March, for example, if the due date changed, as well as when they were available. So I knew when to go back and like recheck for them so I could apply as early as possible, because if you wait until March and all of them are due in March, it's rough. But if one of them opens up in October and it's due in March, then you can start early and you don't have as many, you don't have as hard a time with it. But I also asked people for help. I talked to both professors as well as friends to proofread essays. Talking to professors is super, super important, especially if it's your first year, because almost all scholarships require some letter of recommendation. And so the sooner you talk to professors, the sooner you establish that sort of connection is more beneficial for you in the long run. But I also asked my friends to help proofread essays because I knew that they would be honest with me and feedback. And sometimes brutally honest, but it definitely helps long term. A couple of resources that I constantly relied on to apply each year for scholarships. One was credit unions. I am a member at a couple of different credit unions. And so they have scholarships that I applied for. I applied for university scholarships based on merit. I applied for college specific scholarships. So like college of humanities, for example, with my communications degree, I actually got a really, really fantastic scholarship from them. So if you're a comm major, check out the 7th and Canada scholarship. It's amazing. I had it for 2 years. It really helped. And then department scholarships as well. So I looked to the department of, I got both scholarships from the Department of Communication and Department of Anthropology. So double check the department scholarships and you'll thank yourself later. Also my first year, I used a lot of local scholarships from my hometown in order to help me pay for college. Generally, whatever city you're from, especially if it's your first year, they have some sort of assistance to help students get to college, but the same is true afterwards. I also had paid internship while I was in college, so any internship opportunities are awesome, especially if they're paid. And then one resource that I had to use was I was actually a peer advisor for the Block U program. And so they were able to give me a stipend for that as well. So finding little ways that you can improve your education while also maybe getting credit and making money at the same time is also a great idea. And so definitely all of those resources, credit unions, university scholarships, college specific scholarships, department scholarships, local scholarships, internships, as well as any paid positions that you can find at the U that you maybe get credit for, so they're useful as well. I also got scholarships from the debate team. I was on it for 4 years. Nice jacket. But a couple of tips about proofreading and writing. It can be super tedious, but it is so worth it. Especially because you can use the same essay for different prompts. You have to make sure to edit it based on the prompts, but the ideas and the themes can stay the same generally, because most prompts are pretty similar. So you want to make your essay fit the prompts specifically, and you want to make sure that you answer every part of it. Writing an essay for a scholarship is a lot like writing an essay response to a test question. You need to answer it directly, and you need to answer every single part of it. If you don't, that alone can potentially disqualify you from getting a scholarship, because if people have a prompt that they're asking you to write for, they expect you to engage with the prompt that you're given. So what I did in order to sort of deal with this was I outlined the essay before diving in. And if you're feeling really inspired, then you can write whatever you want, proofread, and then outline last. But brainstorming and outlining can help to make sure that you answer each part of the question. What I do is I break apart the prompts and I put each part of the question by itself, so I make sure to answer it. I write each part separately, answering a specific question, and then I put them all together later. So I basically write essays in chunks, and then I sort of stitch it all together with transition words and topics. But the first draft should just be word vomit. Don't worry about word count or anything like that. The essay, when you're first starting to write, should basically be just whatever you think of when you think of the prompt, and then you can read it back and see if it actually fits, what you need to add, what you need to cut, that kind of thing. But what I find in order to make sure that I really answer the prompt is to break it into each question, write a response to each part of the question, and then put it all together and then make edits based on whatever I need to at that point. So good luck, happy scholarship hunting, and if you need to reach out or you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I was working at the time, but will be working at the time, and thank you. Good luck.
Great. Okay, we have a few minutes left for questions. Is anyone in our live audience, and Claudia's going to get some from the chat, but what questions do you have for our panelists? Hey, well, I have one that I'm wondering that I've had a student ask. What happens if there is some misinformation on their FAFSA and they want to appeal it? What's the process for that?
You have two options. One, either log on to your FAFSA and make a correction to it. We'll receive that correction. Most likely, though, we'll be asking for documentation once we receive that updated FAFSA. Or come in, talk to us. We can also make the correction ourselves. So if you've determined maybe you've added a 0, this happens actually a lot, added a 0 to your income, right? And it put you out of grant eligibility. It's something that we can also review through documentation. So what I would suggest is, regardless of which approach you take, make sure you have kind of some documentation collected for the change that you're making. So if it's income, make sure you have your tax information ready to go to provide to us, or if it's changing your household size, we have a form in our office that will verify that information on it.
Thank you. Okay, are there any in the chat that you wanted to ask? I have more, but if anyone in the audience has one they want to ask. Okay, yeah.
It's not sorry. It's not about work study. How can I find something?
Okay, so the question was about where can they find work study?
Yeah, so you can actually apply for work study positions online through the employment website on FEU, but just making sure that you're offered work study. If you haven't been offered work study, come talk to us. We can look and see if you have any additional eligibility for that. But you'll actually apply for positions. If you go to the employment site, you'll see actually work study positions, and you can apply for any position that's listed as work study. It's great. I would, like I said, I would strongly recommend that to anybody, even if it's only working 2 hours a week. It brings you connection. Maybe resume builder, recommendations for scholarships. I have filled out a lot of recommendations for students for scholarships.
So for later jobs, I've done a lot of, for our work study students, a lot of letters of recommendation or references, like when they do go on the market later, they're building a reference bank.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Are there work study positions at Basic Needs Collective?
Yes,
Do you have some open?
Currently we do have a work study intern position, Basic Needs Programming internship. So I didn't bring a flyer with the but yeah, check out our website, reach out to me, or look on the employment website. It's Basic Needs Programming intern, and then the work study.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay,
A question?
Claudia, you have one from the chat.
No, from my head.
Oh, from Claudia.
What's the difference between the Financial Wellness Center and financial aid?
We get this a lot, right? Right, Chelsea? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, so financial aid, the financial aid office, we're here to help you apply for federal aid, Pell Grants, loans, reviewing any information you have on your FAFSA, applying for scholarships, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And we do get a little bit of confusion between the two, but I will say that we are well connected to the other departments. And so there's no wrong place to go. If you go to the financial aid office and they feel like we're a better fit, they'll refer you over, and the same goes for them. What we can do is help you look at your different options for paying for school. So it's very similar in that way. We just can't make those decisions for you, but we can help you talk through them, look at what your financial aid offer was, and discuss what are the possibilities for you, what might make sense for you. Our role at the Financial Wellness is to help you understand what options are available to you and then support you in those decisions. Yeah. Thank you, Claudia, for that one.
We have been getting a lot of questions about student loan debt relief, and I'm sure you have as well. What's kind of your take from the financial aid office? What should they be doing in that regard?
So one of the key, specifically like the forgiveness that just was announced recently, the difference in if you've received Pell Grant or not is the amount, right? It's forgiveness. I don't know about you, but I could not recall if I had ever received Pell Grant in my college career. And so one of the biggest things you can do as a student, if you can't recall, I mean, it ranges from $20 of Pell Grant to $6,000. You can actually look that up through your studentaid.gov and see if you've ever qualified for a Pell Grant, because that's the difference between 20,000 forgiven and 10,000 forgiven. What I would say, the biggest take I think to understand is that when you're signing up for a student loan, you can hope for it to be forgiven, but understand that don't rely on that, right? Never rely on that, understanding that it is a loan that you are going to be paying back. And that there are programs to offer forgiveness, not only just through like what was announced, but public service loan forgiveness, that kind of thing. And that's great and it's wonderful, but understand that you also are signing up for a loan that you will have to pay back. So just keep that in mind as you're taking out loans in general.
Like, I have a question from the chat. If we wanted help applying for FAFSA, could we come to the financial aid office? Oh, okay. If we wanted help applying for FAFSA, could we come to this office, the Financial Wellness Center, for assistance, or the financial aid office?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So I would say definitely come to the financial aid office if you're needing help filling out your FAFSA. Keep in mind that if you need to include parent information, we'll need to have their information as well. And they will have to sign the form as well. So a lot of times we can do something over Zoom with everybody involved. But absolutely, that's what we're there for, and help fill it out. I know it can be confusing. I know it can be tedious to fill out the FAFSA, but like I said, I would encourage everybody to fill it out.
I would also just add that if you haven't done your taxes or your parents haven't done your taxes, you can go to the Financial Wellness Center and they can assist you with filing your taxes up to 3 years prior. So you could, at this point, we could do back to 2018. So because you will need your tax information for FAFSA, so if you haven't done your taxes, that's something that the Financial Wellness could assist you with.
Thank you for the blessing. Okay, any more questions from the chat?
Yes, we have one more question from Josh. Do you know if there is a cutoff for when the loan was taken out with the loan forgiveness? For instance, if loans were taken for this semester, do they qualify for forgiveness?
That's a good question. Based on what information I've received, it's still fluid. But what we've received is that no, a loan that you've taken out this semester would not qualify. It would have had to have dispersed to you prior to July 1st. So any loans prior to that might be possible in that forgiveness program, but anything for this fall moving forward or no.
Okay. Okay, last question. Thinking back to your college days, what were some free activities and pastimes you were able to do that can help lower our costs of being in school? Edie, do you want to start?
Yeah, and I would always find activities, workshops similar to this, and we're giving out free food. So that way I can help you, because I am a big foodie. So if there was any sort of activity, webinar, workshop, anything that involves food, I was there. And I would try to plan out throughout the week. So if I knew there was like a workshop Tuesday, Thursday, then I would only have to take lunch 2 of the days, or so that was one. And the second one is just being super involved with different organizations on campus. One, so you can build your network, but also use them as a resource when you're graduating.
Great. Sarah Elizabeth?
You know, I would have to say I probably do the work that I do because I didn't leverage campus resources and events and different activities and organizations in order to support my academic career, especially as an undergraduate. So that's kind of why I do the work that I do. But a couple of things that I would say is like, I also wouldn't have necessarily gone to the Financial Wellness Center because I was just like, I'm poor, I don't have any money, I don't need a budget because I ain't got no money.
And so that was really, you know, I think it was really naive of me to do that, but it would have helped to have a budget and understand my financial landscape and understand some of the resources that were available to me. I'm not, I was leaving on the table because I didn't know, and I didn't kind of know where to go. So I applaud you all for being here, especially with a topic like this, because you're already showing initiative and interest, and that's going to have a tremendous impact long term. The last thing I'll say is, especially on this campus, we're talking about underutilization of the earned income tax credit, child tax credit in Utah. But you know, in colleges in the state of Utah, we also have a low utilization of SNAP, which is the Supplemental and Nutrition Assistance Program, which is a public benefit. You could be leaving money on the table because the SNAP program provides you with a benefit card if you meet the income eligibility requirements. And that you could get access to that card, and it also gives you a purchasing card to go to a store and buy the food that you may not be able to get through a pantry, like fresh food, like that. So I had a student that applied, it was eligible for like $79 a month, and it was something, right? I mean, that's 79, especially right now when the dollar's not stretching as far with inflation, that helps, and it's a supplement to other areas of income. So yeah, I'll just say I wish I would have known more.
Great. Thank you. Okay, and then
I would agree. I wish I would have known more. I was personally more of a non-traditional college student. So I guess the biggest thing I would say is I worked on campus and utilized the half-off tuition benefits to help kind of fund my education. So I would just say that in general, there's a lot of employers out there that will pay for tuition. So that's another option out there. So it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt for your parents to ask. A lot of parents and employers will also pay for for children's tuition. So I would say that's one of the programs that I utilized the most, was getting half off tuition. Now that did not mean I work or go to school full time necessarily, but it helped me limit how much student loan debt I had.
okay, thank you. Well, we're out of time. We appreciate everyone being here. Last thing is we do like to check in and, oh, sorry, I'm trying to the next one. We like to see how we're doing. We like to learn about what you would like us to bring to you. We offer these free workshops all the time. If you'll do this QR code, and we're going to get it pasted in the chat as well. Well, we're going to give away 2 Amazon gift cards for people who fill it out. So make sure you put your email in that. Then we'll also contact you for any future workshops. And if there's anything that we talked about today and you just want more information, you can email Financial Wellness Center or set up an appointment. We'd love to be a support to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yay, thanks for inviting me. Love your chat. That's stuff I'm seeing. And we get treats.
Yeah.
Right.